Oh boy, here we go. Welcome to Excuse My Frenemy, the podcast where we talk about some of the biggest topics in sports and with two fans of rival teams try to put their sports allegiances aside, but I promise you this week we will fail to do so. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. It's a great week to be thankful for what you got. Thanks for taking time to give us a listen. I'm Sean Brady, and with me, as always, is my co-host, Katie Cabrera. Katie, happy Thanksgiving. What's going on?
Hey, everybody. Happy Thanksgiving. Hopefully everybody's, hanging out with friends, family, loved ones, and, of course, just pig out this week. It's great to be back, Sean. How are you?
I'm doing great. I like how I tried to make the holiday about being thankful and you turned it back to America's gluttony. But anyway, I digress.
Hey, just saying the truth.
On this week's episode, we're obviously going to talk the NFL. We're going to talk about LeBron's suspension. We're going to get into the Zac Stacy arrest. And then hopefully we're going to close our show with a little bit of fun on some Thanksgiving predictions, if you will. So now with that, let's get on to the first topic, which is the NFL. KC, what's on your mind for NFL-wise?
I gotta say, Sean, I want to talk about the 49ers versus the Jaguars. It's a 30-10 game. Back to back for the Niners, it's been a pretty good, solid 2 weeks, don't you think? I mean, after the LA Rams came to San Francisco, it turned out to be the Niners' good game day. We had the Niners just completing passes, making sure they got their touchdowns. And then I get it. Listen, I get it. Jaguars is not the big hype that you want to talk about over like, oh, we just won this game. Like, I get it. It's the Jaguars. But still, it's a back-to-back, another win for the 49ers. So, give and take. They do have a rookie quarterback, Trevor Lawrence, for the Jaguars. But, their offense this time for this game was struggling. They were struggling and trying to keep the team away or trying to keep their players from catching the ball to make touchdowns. The 49ers, I gotta say, they're putting on a show, and, if my fiance's out there listening, I hate to say it, but they're just a tiny bit better than the Seahawks right now.
Yeah, you kind of stole my thunder because I was going to undercut your take by saying, they played the Jags. All due respect to what they did against the Rams, but I'm going to give them as much respect for beating the Jags as everybody gave the Cardinals for beating the Jags, which was, hey, you beat the Jags, congratulations, whoop-de-doo. So you kind of stole my thunder when you downplayed the Jags win. But I will say, man, Deebo Samuel, he's the best running back on the roster, and he's supposed to be playing wide receiver. So, he's actually becoming a Pro Bowl.
That's what I'm saying.
They actually just, don't get me wrong. Like you said, it's the Jags, and they are supposed to dominate teams like that if you're going to be a good team. But that's what they absolutely did. I'm watching the Red Zone, and they started out showing the Niners-Jags game, and then literally maybe 90 minutes go by before I realized, damn, they haven't showed that game in a long time, and I actually looked at my phone and found out why, because it was 20 points. So,
right.
So they did what they had to do, as you probably know, Katie, being out here in the Bay Area. Now that they've won 2 games, now they're Super Bowl contenders again, according to everybody out here. But I think the next 3 games are going to tell how the rest of their season is going to go. They got a big one against the Vikings. Then they got to play your Seahawks, which is a division game, as we've seen, throw the records out in the division games. And then they got to go play Cincinnati, who is kind of up and down, but they're better. They're not the old Bengals. They're not your daddy's Bengals.
Right.
They're actually a relevant team this year. If they play well in those next 3 games, the tail end of the schedule is not so bad. So I think they could make a playoff run for that last couple spots. But if they struggle in these next 3 games, you might as well start Trey Lance because your season's done.
Yeah, I definitely agree on that part. I gotta admit, Sean, just looking at the Niners' next few games, just like you mentioned, it's gonna be a back-to-back with their rivalries. So especially with the Seahawks, we did win them the first time, but this time around, I do feel like the Seahawks could possibly beat the Niners. Could possibly, maybe. I don't know. I hope. But at the end of the day, it's just not Seahawks season. But going back to the Niners, I think it's going to be interesting because I gotta admit, I'm looking forward for that LA Rams again versus the Niners back in LA territory. So that's the one game I am looking forward to, just to see how the Niners are going to do. And then it's going to be interesting to see them against the Vikings. So got a couple weeks to look ahead.
Wait, I think I just finally put something together. We've been doing this podcast for a few weeks now. And you always keep talking about how you're SoCal girl and all that good stuff, but you're like also like Seahawks fan. Have you been playing up the Rams just so if the Seahawks are bad, you could jump ship and become a Rams fan for the second half of the season? Is that what you've been doing?
No,
Oh, okay,
no,
just checking.
no,
Because
no, no,
you're
definitely
looking
not.
forward to the Rams playing like. So I was wondering, maybe she's setting herself up to cheer for somebody else besides the
Oh
Seahawks.
no, no. I mean, no, and no doubt. But I mean, it is nice to be up north. I am far away from SoCal, not so far, but I mean, it is a drive. But what I'm saying is, there's really the nearest home team I have here is the Niners, and that's my fiance's favorite team. So, it's funny being up here in NorCal. Sean, there's a lot of always this talk: the Warriors, the Niners. I mean, all the players are around here, the Giants, whatever. Whenever there's a game on, so especially when the Niners versus the LA Rams about a week or 2 weeks ago, it was kind of funny because they were like, "Oh, LA Rams has this down in the bag. This is it. This is the game," and the Niners kind of shut them up. So that's why I'm interested to see how the LA Rams is going to come back, or the Niners are going to keep that streak going for that win. So it's just something I want. I'm curious. I'm curious, and I want to find out more about.
Okay, so moving on to what I want to talk about, I'm going to start out by giving credit where credit is due. Katie, last week you told everybody that listens to us that.
Do you want me to just exit the show? Because I could exit.
No, that's not what I'm going to talk about. I'm giving you credit. Last week, I laughed at you when you made this prediction, and you said you wanted everybody to remember the prediction, but I got to give you credit. You called it. You had the Colts beating the Bills. And not only did they beat them, they whooped their butt.
Suckers.
So now, granted, I don't think you thought Jonathan Taylor would have 5 touchdowns, but yeah, the Colts made the Bills look pretty mediocre, and I laughed at you, so I'll feel obligated to point out that you were right. I would say I'd never doubt you again, but we all know that's going to happen. But yeah. I want to give credit where credit is due. But that's not what I'm going to dwell on. I'm going to talk about something else, and you know what I'm going to talk about. I'm going to talk about my 9-2 Arizona Cardinals, first place in the conference, going into their bye week. They're 6-0 on the road, with all their road wins being by double digits. We're back. Oh, we are back. And hopefully at the bye week, speaking of being back, will be Kyler Murray and DeAndre Hopkins, which means we're 9-2, and we might be getting better. So, I'm excited. I'm ecstatic. Thank you, Colt McCoy, for your service. You came in and you did your job. You threw 328 yards, 2 TDs. That's his first 300-plus yard game since 2014. Zach Ertz, the biggest midseason acquisition, 88 yards, 2 touchdowns. And Rondale Moore even had 11 catches. Like, if you're not a Cardinals fan, who knows who Rondale Moore is? So, again, we're doing good. We're doing great. But the thing I want to talk about, that game is going to surprise you, Katie.
What?
Russell Wilson.
Oh.
I genuinely think he's still not healthy.
No.
Because remember, his initial injury, they said he was out anywhere between 4 and 8 weeks, which means he would be out anytime between the 5th of November through the 3rd of December. Last time I checked, we're still not to the 3rd of December, which means he might have come back just to try to save the season. But I'm telling you, he was missing throws that Russell Wilson doesn't normally miss. He doesn't look like he's off sync. It's almost like the game sped up for him. Maybe being out a month does that to you. But he just doesn't look right.
It's difficult. It's difficult being a top-notch player in A1 in this division, and especially if you're trying to bring your team along and keep them into the victory game. I'm just talking from experience. It's hard to sit down. It's hard to watch your team fail, and it's hard to not be able to do anything and just sit in the sideline. So I feel like you're right. I feel like he could have came on too soon. What if he's still afraid of injuring that finger? Or by all what we know, he's still prone to an injury. He's just trying to, in some way, prevent it from happening. But those preventions is making him not be on his top A1 game either. You can see it. You can see it, how he'll do anything to not get in contact with that hand.
Oh yeah.
So I could tell, and you could tell when a person is afraid from an injury to reoccur again. And I'm not gonna lie. I mean, when that finger was turned that angle, I don't think it would. I would have been kind of traumatized a bit. Much to say, I would have been a little bit traumatized to even play for the rest of the season or even do anything with that hand alone
Yeah.
until it is
Fingers don't
completely
bend that
healed.
way. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't blame him. However, you're human. Take the time you need. Football's always going to be there. Come back next season and kill it next season. I just think don't kill your finger in this season though.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to go so far to say he's afraid to hurt it again, but there are a couple throws you can tell he's not wanting to follow through on.
Mm-hmm.
But that could be both being tentative or it may also be pain. Like
Right.
he may still feel the finger, and that may be why he's not following through. Because the one major surgery I had, the biggest complaint I had through all my physical therapy was I couldn't trust my ankle. I had ankle surgery, and my therapist was telling me clearly when I went to one side, I was doing something different than the other side. And I flat out told him, I was like, I don't trust my ankle. And I'm wondering if that may be what's going through Wilson is maybe he just doesn't trust his finger to do the right thing. And now he's in his own head.
Right.
But I said many times, if the record wasn't as bad as it was, I didn't think he would come back as soon as he did. Now, the big talk and the big concern that I've seen on all the Twitterverses is his time in Seattle done? So, I mean, you're sitting there saying, don't hurt your finger, come back next year. There are a lot of people out there who think there might not be a next year for Russell Wilson and the Seahawks together.
I mean, there's a lot of talk that they should just shut down Wilson for the rest of the season. And I could imagine that going on further, but it does suck that sometimes that if a team has to depend on the player to bring back a turnaround for the whole NFL team, there's a problem. There's a problem in that. And I honestly, they're my team. And in all honesty, it's just every game we play, it's kind of cringing to watch. It is so cringing to watch because you could tell where the mistakes are happening. And you could tell like when the defense is not on their A game, they're just letting people pass through and just tackle the quarterbacks. And it's just like you said, he's just not following through with those throws. And it's just, I get it. Sometimes there's that lash of back pain after you give that throw. I mean, I'm just coming from a meniscus slightly surgery. I mean, a small surgery that I had for the meniscus. I am so scared to put my knee down. And when I do, it's just an automatic, oh, we're getting up. We're not doing that, And
I think and you don't have 300-pound linemen trying to kill you either.
Exactly. So imagine his fear of just seeing all these big men running to you and your fingers just out there exposed, just getting ready for you to go throw, but you're not following through. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see where this goes for the Seahawks.
I don't think him leaving would be such a topic that it is if it wasn't for the last offseason. Like you guys didn't exactly have a smooth offseason, and you know how the old adage, winning solves everything. Well, losing magnifies everything. So if you guys were having problems beforehand and you aren't having a great season, I can see why a lot of people think his time might be up. But if they're thinking that, and they being the Seahawks, I would just say be careful what you wish for. Because as a fan of a team who's pretty much had, let me count them, 3 relevant quarterbacks in our franchise history that I have experienced, when you have one, you hold on to them with dear life. Same thing with Green Bay and Aaron Rodgers. Be careful what you wish for.
Yeah, definitely agree.
Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and move on to our predictions for this week. First, we're going to start with one of the Thanksgiving games. The 5-5 Raiders are going into Dallas to face the 7-3 Cowboys. Casey, who you got?
I got the Raiders on this one. Raiders are going to just...
Of course.
I'm telling you. The Raiders are going to take this one home.
I should have known. Like, again, I wish that they could see our cameras. Like, once we get good enough of this, we may have to start including videos. But I promise you, you probably laughed more at me sitting back throwing my hands up when I yelled out, of course, because I should have saw it coming and somehow it caught me off guard. But, of course, you got the Raiders. I'm taking the Cowboys because they're not the Raiders. How's that? There's my great in-depth analogy.
Yeah. just because they're not the Raiders. You know what? Just keep the rivalry. It's all good.
Okay, the next game we got is the 8-3 Tennessee Titans coming off of their loss, going to face the New England Patriots. And as I said that out loud, I fully realize who you're going for again. But Katie, who you got?
The Patriots. Ladies and gentlemen, the Patriots will take on that game. Who are you going to go for?
Well, I think I'm going to go for the Patriots too.
What?
Because, well, let me explain. Because as much as I love the Tennessee Titans, last week I think is the first time that they truly missed Derrick Henry. When the weather got bad, their passing game isn't good enough to go through bad weather, and they had no Derrick Henry to rely on, which is probably why they got beat. Now, I'm not assuming that the weather in New England is going to be bad, but it is New England, so I can't assume that it's going to be good. All things being equal, yeah, I see the Patriots winning. So our next game is the 6-4 LA Chargers going on the road to face the Denver Broncos, who are 5-5. Katie, who you got?
LA Chargers. That is a no-brainer. The LA Chargers.
Yeah, not the founding member of the fan club, but Justin Herbert fan club, card-toting member. Here I am. Give me the Chargers all day. Besides, I don't think Denver's as good as people think they are, even though everybody in AFC is somehow good and bad at the same time. But either way, give me the Chargers.
Yeah, definitely.
The next game is the game that I personally think is the game of the week, and it's the 7-3 LA Rams going into Green Bay to face the Green Bay Packers, who are 8-3. KC, who you got?
The Green Bay Packers.
No analysis, just the Packers?
Just the Packers.
Okay.
And this is a home game for them, correct?
It is.
Yeah, yep. That's all I'm going to say. Green Bay Packers. And next week when we talk about it, you're just going to be like, yep, KC did say that. So mark the words, Green Bay Packers.
So this is another one of those games where I wish both teams can lose because
why?
I don't want the Rams to win because they're in our division. And I don't want the Packers to win because they're right on our heels for the top seed in the NFC. So it is at home in Green Bay, which makes me lean Green Bay. But if I'm not mistaken, I think the Rams are also coming off their bye week, so they've had 2 weeks to prepare for Green Bay. So I don't know which one of those outweighs the other. So, like I've said before, when I can't decide, when in doubt, instead of flipping a coin, I just go the opposite of Katie. So, or as I call it, the okay, opposite of Katie. So you took the Packers, so I'm taking the Rams.
Okay.
And our final game, which I can't believe they have this scheduled for a Monday night game. But then again, they don't know what the schedule is going to look like mid-season when they start. But Katie, your 3-7 Seattle Seahawks are going cross-country into D.C. to face the 4-6 football team.
Great. So you mean to tell me they're going against Washington?
Correct. In Washington.
Oh, God, Lucha, look at that. The two Washingtons that people tend to kind of mix up.
Growing up, I always thought the team that is now known as the Washington football team, I always thought they played in the Washington State. I never understood why they were in the NFC East until I got older and realized, they mean DC.
Yeah, definitely. I'm going to have to say this one's going to go to the Seahawks.
Okay,
I will give them this one. This is the Seahawks game.
Yeah, I'm going to disagree with you, only because, the whole cross-country, your team's kind of struggling. We just went in length of how I don't think Russell Wilson is fully healthy. So I'll go ahead and I'll take the football team.
Okay.
And before we move on to the next topic, I'm going to surprise one with you, Katie, because it just came across the wire as we were talking. The College Football Committee has announced their top 4 teams. Not going to go into depth for it, but I want you to hear this. Number 1, Georgia. Number 2, Ohio State. Number 3, Alabama. Number 4, Cincinnati. They've let Cincinnati in the top 4.
I'm glad, but you know where we're going to go with that. But okay, ladies and gentlemen, this is something we need to save. But a quick reminder, I don't always agree on how they rate them. So I'm glad that Cincinnati's top 4, but I think they could be top 2.
Oh, I agree. In fact, but I've always told you, I thought Cincinnati was a good team, but I also thought the committee would do anything within their power to keep them out. And I fully expected this week to Michigan somehow to jump them. But the committee didn't do that. So I will give them a little bit of credit of not looking completely biased towards it, but I just wanted to let you know your team that you picked like week 2 is finally in the top 4. Now you just got to hope that they don't lose, because if they lose, they're done.
Right.
And now we can move on to topic number 2.
Can we talk about something else?
Now, our second topic is the NBA, and we could talk about how surprising the Bulls or the Wizards or the Hornets or the Cavs are playing so far, or we could talk about how the Warriors are 15-2, got the best record in the NBA, and may even be getting better as the season goes on, or we could talk about the Suns' 13-game win streak, but no, that's not what we're going to talk about. We are going to talk about LeBron James' altercation.
LeBron.
Yeah, we're going to talk about his altercation with Detroit Pistons' Isaiah Stewart. If you hadn't heard by now, they kind of got tussled up after a free throw to where it ended up with LeBron basically swinging his arm and catching Stewart across the face. And as he has blood streaming down his face, Stewart decides, you know what, I'm very upset. And he basically goes nuclear trying to get to LeBron James. They handed out that LeBron is going to get 1 game suspension for his ejection and his basically swinging of his arm. Stewart gets 2, basically because he turned into a crazed madman afterwards.
Yeah.
This is LeBron's first suspension of his career. It's only his second ejection. I'm going to let you say what you want to say, Katie, but the short version is a lot of people are saying it's dirty. A lot of people were saying it's not dirty, but everybody, from what I could tell, is okay with what the league did as far as the suspension. Some people didn't think LeBron would get suspended, but they're kind of okay that it's only 1 game. But Katie, what are your thoughts on it?
You know, to be honest, after I watched the short clip of the whole incident with LeBron's elbow, and I gotta admit, I think Stewart kind of took that overboard, and it created into a situation that was bigger when it wasn't meant to be bigger. And yeah, they did great with the suspension. I agree with that, because you could tell it looked like an accidental from the angle that I was watching. It didn't look like LeBron meant to kind of elbow him that hard. It's just he accidentally moved in a way where he's like, oh shoot, like my arm just went, and he even turned around really quick, and he was kind of like, my bad, I'm sorry, I didn't mean that, and walked away. But then that's when Stewart kind of, he took it a moment, he got heated, and then he went right after him like a maniac. And the next thing you know, he has blood streaming down his face from the impact. And then, of course, Stewart's trying to and yelling all these things to LeBron. LeBron starts getting heated, and he's like, you know what? All right, fine, let's fight. And then after that, they back them up. LeBron leaves. He goes back to the sit down area, and Stewart just keeps going and going and going. And I just think that whole situation was just blown out of proportion.
So yeah, I think both can be true. First and foremost, yes, Stewart's reaction was completely overboard. I do think it may have had something to do with, you just popped me in the face and now you're going to try to put your hand out like we're cool. Like, no, that ain't going to fly. But even with that, even if that's what happened in his head, it was still a very delayed reaction, because at first they went nose to nose and nothing happened. And it wasn't until everybody started backing him up where all of a sudden he was like, no, let me at him. Now, having said that, he needs to try out for a defensive lineman in NFL if his basketball career doesn't pan out, because he was going through people like a D lineman going through an offensive line trying to get to the quarterback. It was almost impressive how many people he was going through, if it wasn't for the fact that it's so sad. I've never seen an athlete try to get to somebody else on the court that many times. I mean, there had to be at least 4 attempts for him to try to go 3 people. Like, it reminded me of WWE. Like when 2 guys are going at it and the entire locker room comes out to try to keep them separated, and yet somehow these 2 guys can get through the entire locker room, still get at each other. That's kind of what it reminded me of. Like, the entire arena was basically trying to keep him away from LeBron, and he still almost got to him on multiple attempts. Now, to LeBron's side of it, I don't think it was a dirty play, but I do think it was one of those, hey, get off me moves. And I don't know how else to describe that unless you play sports. There are just times where somebody's tangled up with you, and you just like, hey, get off me. And I think he just happened to catch him in the face. Now, having said that, The get off me move is not a basketball move. It is nowhere deemed a basketball move. If you do a get off me move and you catch somebody in the face, that's a flagrant 2. Thank you for your evening. Go hit the showers. So I think they got that right too. Again, don't think it was dirty, but when you do a non-basketball move, you lose all benefit of the doubt. You know what it actually reminded me of? It reminded me of last year's playoffs when Jokic had that flagrant foul that got him ejected against the Suns series. And everybody was saying, well, he didn't mean to hit him in the face. And the point I kept making is intent becomes irrelevant once you start with a non-basketball move. Once you wind up or swing something in a almost, I don't even know how to describe it, in a non-basketball move manner, once you do that, you lose the benefit of the doubt on intent. Furthermore, if we're going to say that shouldn't count because he didn't mean to do it, 99% of basketball fouls are unintentional. So if we're going to say that shouldn't count against him because he didn't mean to do it, then why do we even call fouls at all? But back to the bigger point, get off me move, caught him in the head, guy goes nuclear. I think it all ends up being the same. I think everybody got it right. But the part I found the funniest, and I saw this on Twitter, Russell Westbrook, his reaction. I don't know if you saw this, but if you go back and watch the video, there was one part where Russell Westbrook looked just like the Notre Dame Fighting Irish mascot. With the 2 fists up, like, hey, come get some. Like, and then he's wondered, and then he was surprised he got a technical. I was like, dude, you can't put your fists up like Notre Dame Fighting Irish and not get a technical. It was the funniest thing I'd seen.
Oh man! Now that you mentioned it, I do remember that. But I agree with you. I mean, it's just one of those things where it's like it's not a basketball, it's not a sports move, but I mean, it happens a lot. I mean, I remember playing soccer, and when a girl, I mean, especially when someone's on you and they're pushing you, and it's body to body, and the only weight that's keeping you balanced is that person's weight because you guys are just fighting for that spot. It gets to a point where it's just kind of like, just get off of me. Like, move, go somewhere else, you know? And it's just one of those things where his face just did, he didn't mean to aim there. He probably meant to aim somewhere else, kind of like get away from me, but it just went that way. And that whole commotion started. But it is, like you said, all intentions are off the table, and it is what it is at that point. And the odds are not in your favor after that.
Oh, yeah. He meant the get off me move. He just didn't mean where it landed. Right. But having said that, again, when you have a non-basketball move, you lose the benefit of doubt for intent. Now, the other part I wanted to point out, and my wife actually pointed this out initially, she said, of course, it had to be the Pistons. Because I don't know if you've seen the full audio of the clip, but in the background, you can hear the PA announcer for the Pistons repeatedly telling the fans to stay in their seats. Do not come on the floor. Because the first thing most people thought of in Detroit with that kind of reaction going on is, oh God, here comes another Malice in the Palace. So I'm glad it didn't get to that, but it's still scary that that's still where our mind goes anytime something like this happens in that arena.
A fight, yeah.
Okay, so now we can go ahead and move on to the next topic.
So this next topic, we're going to take it down a notch here. And, it's going to get a little bit cringing. But let's talk a little bit about Zac Stacy. It's been all over the news. I'm pretty sure you guys either heard it one way or the other, either by video or by radio or by TV. But so Zac Stacy was arrested in Florida, and he was in jail until he got bailed out, correct? He was bailed out on Friday, if I'm correct?
Yes, from what I'm reading, $10,000 bond, yes.
So a little backstory of Zac Stacy. Basically, what happens was that his ex-girlfriend, Kristen Evans, it shows a graphic video. There was a graphic video being shown that he was beating her up. She was just kind of like, they were both in front of their five-month-old son. And basically what happened was he was getting, I don't know if it was anger that he just occurred, and he just started yelling at her and then kind of like punching her and physically abusing her. And then finally he picks her up and throws her and slams her against the TV. And that TV falls on top of her, and he continues to throw her around and continue to punch her. And this is all happening in front of their infant child that's right in front of them crying, and she's yelling at him to stop and pleading him to stop, all because his child is right there. And it continues to go over and over. So finally, when I believe they arrested him in Florida because he traveled. He got bailed out. However, he did get 2 felonies for that. So he has 2 felonies for aggravated assault and criminal mischief. And at the same time, he could face 15 years in prison. So it's still, we're waiting to hear more word about it. We're waiting to hear when his trial is going to begin. But I mean, if anybody's seen the video, it's extremely graphic. I mean, you could see just the amount of anger that's rushing through him, and the just the abuse that's there. It's just something that I hope he gets what he gets. One thing, it's, never lay a hand on another person. And I'm not going to say as a woman, I don't lay a hand on a woman, of course, because a woman can lay a hand on a man, and that's just not right either. But like, a person should never lay hands on another person like that. And especially if you're doing it in front of your children, that's a huge no. It should just never happen entirely. So it's going to be interesting to kind of hear what the trial is going to begin and what they're going to say about it and what his defense is going to be, So we'll see. What do you think, Shawn?
Well, you won't say it, but I will. A man should never put his hands on a woman for any reason. The only caveat may be life and danger self-defense. But like, if she's coming at you with a weapon, maybe.
Yeah.
That's about it. And last time I checked when I saw this video, that's not the case of what happened at all. I too saw the video, was very disturbing, and my mind kind of instantly went to like last week when we said the John Gruden stuff. That wasn't the only one, or this wasn't his first time doing it. That's kind of where our mindset was with that. I kind of have that same mindset on this one, as like, he was so comfortable doing what he did. This isn't the first time.
Right.
Like, he punched her at least a couple times, like you said, threw her against the TV. TV falls on her, and then he just walks away. And he walks away looking back at her like this was her fault.
Right.
It was bewildering that how comfortable he was to do it. Maybe bewildering isn't the right word. It was more sickening, I would say. The woman has come out and said, hey, this was only like a snapshot of our relationship together. Like, this happens all the time. Including, she's even said he did this while she was pregnant with that child. Apparently, the police have been called to their house 2 previous times for domestic violence issues. Yeah, I don't know what else to add other than what you said, other than it's disgusting. And I don't see how he doesn't get convicted, because if there's one thing we have learned is video is everything. So this isn't just a he said, she said no more, because this is a video. I think she recently did an interview with a local news organization where she's saying, hey, I don't feel safe. So I'm just hoping that she could get somewhere safe. Hopefully not a place where he knows where she's at. Because, if he's willing to do that to her like that, or I can't imagine what he might do to her if he's wired in such a way that he seeks retaliation.
Yeah. And it's definitely not okay. I mean, it reports have been in that he even right after the whole video, he took off, and the cops got there within 2 minutes that the call came in, and he was gone. He kind of fled the scene in a way. So he left to Tennessee, and the rumor is that he left to Tennessee and flew back to Florida, and that's where they did the arrest. So definitely it's going to be interesting to hear what the jury is going to rule out, and it's going to be interesting to keep tabs on this incident, because it's not okay. And definitely you could tell that there's so much abuse in that house. The way that she just tells him, like, she's at a point to trying to calm him down, but his rage is just taking over him. Definitely going to be something for the books to kind of keep on track, and definitely going to keep you guys in the loop about what's going to happen and when his jury is going to start. So
when he walked out is the part that was chilling to me. Like, he just seemed way too comfortable doing it. And he looked back at her like, look what you made me do. And I was like, what the hell is wrong with you, guy? But I do want to give credit to Kristen Evans, because she had admitted that this wasn't the first time. But she is the one that posted the video saying, look what is happening to me. And unfortunately, there are far too many women that just wait so long to do something that when they finally say something, a lot of people don't believe them. Like, this is a relationship. She's got a kid with this guy. They've been together for a while now. I guarantee you there's some people that know him that were like, oh, he would never do that. So I give her full credit to having the courage and the wherewithal to say, not only is this happening, here's the proof. Because unfortunately, there's far too many times when people go back to abusive relationships. And that's part of the what's it called, the brainwashing effect of a relationship like that. It's for some reason, people go back, they're afraid to say something. So whenever somebody does step up and say something, they get nothing but kudos from me for their courage and their bravery. And I just hope that he actually gets put away for a significant amount of time, because you wouldn't say it, but I will. Guy hitting a woman, you're a coward. That's just no way around it. You just something as a man you do not do. You don't hit women, you don't hit children, and that's even if you hit anybody.
It's just disgusting. And she even posted a video later on that she's thankful for people being supportive during this whole incident. But however, she doesn't understand why his friends are hiding him when he fled the scene. And that's something too. Like, if you know this person's doing something that he shouldn't be doing or she shouldn't be doing, report it. Because this is just behavior that continues down the line, and it trickles to something of a bigger major event that could have been prevented long time ago, you know? So definitely, like you said, it's just, it takes a lot for, it does take a lot for a woman to stand up against domestic violence, but it also takes a lot for any person at all. Because to be fair game, it's not just women. It could be kids, it could be men, it could be, elders. It's just anybody who is in a domestic violent relationship or in a situation. Nobody should be in that situation. And if you know a person that's doing these kinds of acts, report them or turn them into the authority. There is no reason to be hiding them, because this will just trickle down to future events.
Yeah, the only kinds of people that would be hiding him, in my opinion, were people that just didn't believe that he would be capable of some of that, or people that know him really well and fully understand he's capable of that and have forgiven him so far. So what's going to change now? Neither one of those are good excuses. Okay, Katie, it's Thanksgiving week. What do you say we round it out on a much lighter topic?
Let's do it. Thanksgiving is about, yes, being around family, being around your loved ones, being thankful for having them in your life, and being thankful for many other things. But there is one thing we can agree upon about Thanksgiving. It is the start of eating season, of fat season.
I disagree.
What?
Yes, my fat boy season started at Halloween. I don't know. You're 4 weeks behind as far as I'm concerned.
This man. Well...
You forget, I got kids. I've been walking by my kitchen for 4 weeks going, ooh, a piece of candy. So,
fair game. But this is a time where we talk about what is your favorite meal on Thanksgiving Day. And be granted, just like excuse my frenemy, we all eat different kinds of food on this day. So, Shawn, take us away.
So here's how we're going to do this, because we're going to do it prediction style. As in, I'm going to give you a category of what's going on your plate, and you can only pick one of that category to go on your plate. So if I'm not explaining well enough, hopefully people will pick up quickly as we do the first one. And the first category is, what is your main meat for Thanksgiving? Your options are turkey versus anything else. Because let's be honest, turkey is synonymous with Thanksgiving, probably more than any other holiday. So, but I know there are people that don't like turkey. People think turkey's overrated, what have you. So other options could be like ham, chicken, whatever. I've even seen somebody do lamb. So your options are turkey versus anything else. Katie, which one are you taking?
Gallina, which is chicken all the way. It's going to be interesting though. This is a year where next time we'll be doing this, and you're going to have to ask me again, and I'm going to have to kind of go based on chicken or what my fiance's family is introducing me to on a Thanksgiving day. Smoked ribs. And I mean, but granted, I've always had them. But they're
Can I
making...
get can I get a plate?
Yeah, yeah, you already know. They're making smoked ribs, and she said that her dad is getting down in the kitchen, and when he does, it is recipes that he has not told anybody else. So I am in for a treat on this. So I am very, very excited to see how smoked ribs is tied into Thanksgiving. So, but as of right now, chicken.
I'm kind of there with you because when I got married and the first time I had Thanksgiving dinner at my in-laws, they had turkey and chicken, but they were all covered in this special sauce.
Yeah.
The first bite I took of that sauce, I looked at my wife and I said, "We're having this every year from now on." So I know exactly what we're talking about with the smoked rib. So, and I am fortunate enough to where also my wife doesn't like turkey, but I like turkey. So every Thanksgiving, I get options. There's turkey and there's also chicken, all of it in this glorious sauce. But if I had to pick one, still give me turkey, mainly only because I don't eat it very often. So it's kind of, I don't want to say sacred, but it's close to being a sacred without actually being sacred. I can get chicken any time of the year. I can get it anywhere time I want. Turkey, a little bit different story other than like maybe a turkey sandwich. So if I had to pick, I'm going turkey. Okay, our next battle for your cranberry sauce. Do you want homemade or versus the canned cranberry?
I don't know who you've been getting canned from, but I will tell you here and now. My mom's homemade cranberry sauce is the most delicious sauce I've ever tasted. When I taste canned, I kind of say, all right, I'll skip this year. But when my mom gets down in the kitchen and she says, I'll make it from scratch, all the way homemade. If you know, if the person in the kitchen who knows is getting down for Thanksgiving and you know they're like an A1 cook, they just know how to mix the spices up in there, I will always choose homemade.
Okay, so I don't have a strong opinion on this because I don't like cranberry sauce with Thanksgiving stuff. So I just threw it in there because it's always the debate I always hear, either canned or homemade. So in keeping with the tradition of the show, when I don't have a strong opinion on something, it's time for another okay. Another opposite of Katie. I'll just go ahead and I'll say canned, just because like I heard people say, I can tell by the lines on the can how much cranberry I'm getting, so they use that as a unit of measurement. But also it's just funny to see all this homemade stuff and just see a round cylinder of cranberry just sitting in the middle of the table. So for comedic purposes, I'll go canned, but I really don't care either way.
And I agree with you. I mean, I love the homemade cranberry, but it's not something that I'll put it all around my plate. It's just something that is like, oh, tablespoon? Cool, I'm done. And usually the cranberry's still there after the whole meal is done.
Okay, side topic, kind of along those lines. Gravy or no gravy?
Ooh, gravy. Hold on. On the note of that, it depends on how your mashed potatoes are made.
So maybe I might have jumped ahead, but like, because the two things because the other argument I saw was cranberry sauce or gravy.
Let's come back to that.
Okay.
We'll come back to that.
But speaking of mashed potatoes, you only get one potato on your plate for Thanksgiving. Are you going with mashed potatoes or are you going with any other potato side, like potato salad or sweet potato casserole or any other form of potato versus mashed potatoes? Which one are you taking?
That includes garlic mashed potatoes?
Yes, yeah. You can be doctored up however you want.
Yep, I'll take any other potatoes casserole.
You taking the casserole?
Oh, no. The garlic mashed potatoes.
Oh, okay. You said casserole.
Yeah.
You had me nervous. I was like...
No, I'm sorry. My bad. I will take garlic potatoes, mashed potatoes any day. Garlic, ladies and gentlemen, is the taste and the most cure to every food. So garlic mashed potatoes.
Yeah, I'm with you too. And Debbie, she makes garlic mashed potatoes and she makes them just a little bit chunky because the only caveat to mashed potatoes is they can't be so smooth that they fall off your plate. That's just too much.
Yeah.
So they got to have a little bit of chunkiness to them. But to me, it's kind of mashed potatoes by default because what other options are there? I don't like potato salad. I'm not a big sweet potato guy, to be honest with you. So, I probably would still take mashed potatoes even if I like those other things. But in this instance, it's mashed potatoes by default. So, okay.
I definitely agree.
So, going back now, gravy or no gravy?
So, if I'm having my garlic mashed potatoes, I will eat it without gravy. If it's plain mashed potatoes, I will have it with a little slight of gravy. Not such a huge fan on it. However, I don't know if you've done it or Debbie's parents have done it, but have they done a little mix of your gravy mix and turkey sauce and turkey chunks?
No, because my in-laws and Debbie are not really big on gravy, period, unless it's like biscuits and gravy. So the only time we ever had gravy was kind of that stuff that was out of the pouch that Debbie would make at the last 5 minutes or whatever. And then I realized I was like the only one ever eating gravy. So we don't even make it anymore. But like you said, like if it was garlic mashed potatoes, I don't need gravy. I'm good. Just give me some butter.
Yeah.
I'm done.
That's it.
The next one, you only get one side, and your choices are stuffing versus mac and cheese.
Does it have to be mac and cheese?
Okay, I guess I couldn't think of it really any other side other than veggies, which is still to come. But like, sure, what other side you got?
The other mac and cheese, not mac and cheese, but the one that's mixed up with mayonnaise. I don't know if you know which one I'm talking about. It's that white one. No, I
don't, and I don't want to. Mayonnaise, ew. Oh, full disclosure, I'm probably the only white guy in America that can't stand mayonnaise. So, yeah, you barking up the wrong tree on that one.
Wrong tree. But in this case, I would have to choose mac and cheese.
Nah, give me stuffing all day.
What?
And stuffing and or dressing, because I heard that some people's it don't matter. But again, Thanksgiving's really the only time of year I get it. So, yeah, of course.
Wow. Okay.
Yep, I'm a stuffing guy. And if I had some gravy, I'd put a little bit of that on there, too. Okay, next one.
Bread.
For your bread, are you cornbread or are you dinner rolls?
Dinner rolls.
Absolutely, of course. Especially if it's those Hawaiian dinner rolls. Ooh.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, all day. In fact, we got 3 boxes sitting in our kitchen for like the last week. I've been trying to keep my hands off them, waiting for Thursday.
Trust me, us too. Yeah. They told us bring Hawaiian rolls, and then they texted us, never mind, we have like 6 boxes here now.
No, bring more because we're going to eat them before Thursday.
Man.
So, okay, next one. For your veggie. And you feel free to sub in another veggie if you want, but these are the 2 most popular ones I saw. Green beans, and that includes any form of green bean. Could be a casserole, could be garlic green beans, could be any form of green bean versus corn, which also any form of corn. It could be corn on the cob, it could be corn out of a can, cream corn, whatever. Just green beans or corn.
I'll take the corn all the way. I love corn on the cob, especially if it's like one of those that they grill outside. Oh, any day, I'll take it.
Well, you might actually get it this year because they're doing like the ribs, so they're actually going to be on the grill. You may get to throw that on there.
Yep.
I'm not opposed to corn. I'm not really a big corn on the cob guy because it gets all in my teeth like popcorn. Drives me nuts. But like corn in general, I can do. But nah. Remember what you said about garlic? Man, some garlic green beans all day. Give it to me all day.
Oh, that does sound good.
I'm going to send you a picture of my plate. You're going to see what I'm talking about. Give me them garlic green beans.
You know what other veggies actually is really good with garlic mashed potatoes? It's asparagus. I love my asparagus with garlic mashed potatoes.
I was just paranoid you were going to say Brussels sprouts because that's the other veggie I kept hearing about. I'm like, who punishes their kids by making Brussels sprouts on Thanksgiving? Ugh.
I mean, I'm not a hater of them, but I wouldn't see anybody wanting to eat that either.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Okay, and then our last versus battle of Thanksgiving, of course, dessert. And your choices are pumpkin pie versus anything else. Which one? What do you got, Katie? What's your go-to dessert for Thanksgiving?
It's going to have to be pecan pie with ice cream, vanilla ice cream on top.
What? Pecan? You mean pecan pie?
I knew I was going to butcher that one way or another. Pecan pie. Nicely warmed up pecan pie with a nice scoop of vanilla bean ice cream on top.
I'm laughing at you, but that's because I've heard that word pronounced 4 different ways too. There's pecan, pecan, pecan. I've heard it all. So no matter how you said it, I was going to make fun of it.
And that's the best part is that I was like, I know it's either pecan or pecan pie. And I'm trying to remember the times that people have told me, but they're always different.
Yeah, it's always different.
So I'm like, it's no use. What's yours? I'm curious now.
It's complicated, but let me explain. It's kind of pumpkin pie, but it's also kind of cheesecake, specifically my wife's cheesecake. That is what I would go with if I had to pick one over the other. I would go with my wife's cheesecake all day. Philadelphia cream cheese. And actually, I think she got the recipe from my grandmother. So shout out to my grandmother's cheesecake, I should say. But I get that every year, Thanksgiving. So that's my go-to. However, she only makes one because it's not easy. But she'll make like 2, maybe even 3 pumpkin pies. So I will eat a boatload of pumpkin pie with Cool Whip, no problem. But it's because I'm not trying to be selfish and eating the entire cheesecake in one sitting either. So, but if I had to pick this or that, I'm going with cheesecake. But if you see me on Thanksgiving, more than likely you're going to see me with pumpkin pie. Actually, you're going to see me with both first, and then I'm going to follow it up with seconds of the pumpkin pie. So.
Right. All right. That's good too. I mean, I'm not a hater. Whatever dessert you're going to put in front of me, I'll take it. Somehow I'll try it and I'll eat it and I'll somehow mix it with a vanilla bean ice cream right on top of it.
The last question I got for you, just to put a nice little uniqueness on everything. I'm married into a Hispanic family. You obviously are part of a Hispanic family. And if there's one thing I have learned is no 2 Hispanic families have the same Thanksgiving dinner. So,
no,
with that in mind, and not just Hispanics, because I've seen plenty of other ethnicities have unique dishes on their Thanksgiving table as well. But what is one item at your Thanksgiving meal that you feel is pretty unique compared to what the generalized Thanksgiving dinner looks like?
I will throw you this, and I'm pretty sure you just recently had it. My mom will literally tell us, kids, I am not in the mood for turkey, so I'm making gallinas de pollo, which is panes de pollo.
Panes con pollo. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So literally, she will make panes de pollos for Thanksgiving. And let me tell you, we are not opposed to it. We could eat that all day, every day. So that is one of the most unique Thanksgivings that we could have as well.
They are good, but I got to dip it. I can't have all that sauce in there on top because then the bread gets soggy. But I'll put the chicken in there all day and just give me a side dish to dip the sauce in, and I'm there. But
yeah,
I'm kind of with you because I talked about it earlier, but mine is that sauce. And I just call it that sauce because I don't know what's in it.
It's that sauce.
I don't know. All I know is it involves separating seeds and a blender. That's all I know. I'm told it's very similar to the sauce that goes in panes con pollo, but it's not the exact same. I can just tell you it's not the same.
Yeah.
There's something different. But yeah, I got to go with the sauce.
Yeah.
Okay, that's our show for this week. Hope everybody has a happy Thanksgiving. Hope you enjoy the food. Hope you enjoy the football. Take the time to think about what you're grateful for, what you're appreciative of this year, especially the last couple of years. It's been rough for everybody. That's more important now than ever. Katie, if people want more of you, where can they find you?
You guys can always find me on Twitter at Katie17287. Shawn, where can they find you?
They can find me on Twitter at Shawn_Brady82. I'm not going to spell it out because I spell it out every week. Go back and listen to another episode if you want it. But they can also find us at Excuse My Frenemy. Please get on there and tell us what your Thanksgiving dishes are. If you tell us that we're disgusting for the things we like. Or as Katie usually says, if you got any topics you want us to talk about or you want to disagree with us, you could do that as well. That's it, Katie. We're officially on a holiday break.
Yeah. But ladies and gentlemen, please, like Shawn said, enjoy your families, enjoy your loved ones, enjoy the food. Just be out there, enjoy these next couple of days. It's that time of the year where we get to wind down a little bit and focus a little bit back on our families and our loved ones instead of just rushing through work and rushing through traffic and stuff. So that being said, Shawn, thank you for having me once again on this show, and I shall see you next week.
No problem. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Enjoy the food, enjoy the football, and remember, on Friday, put up your Christmas decorations. Let's do it.